In today's video, I'm looking at Waterloo Sunset by the Kinks. This is obviously an absolute classic. They don't really come much more classic than this tune. It's frequently referred to as being the greatest song ever, or whatever that means, but it's certainly amongst my favourite songs. And I'm sure there's no shortage of other YouTube guitar tutorials on this particular tune just because it's so well known. I've not checked out any other videos, but assuming that's the case, all I can do is give you my own take on this particular tune. So it's going to be quite detailed. I'm going to talk about the acoustic parts, the electric lead guitar parts, and might also talk about the tune from a songwriting perspective as well. Let me begin by playing a bit of the tune for you, and then we'll get into all of that stuff. There we go, and I think even without the lyrics on top of it, it's still a majestic piece of music. And this one is from 1967. I don't know if it was written in 1967. It was certainly first recorded in 1967. It was a single, and it also appears on the Kinks album Something Else, which is a great record. And I suppose it kind of marks the Kinks' move away from their earlier sound, which was kind of a bit more hard-edged rock and roll. They started producing themselves and started going for this more kind of elaborate baroque pop type of a sound. I want to begin by talking about the acoustic parts, and there's nothing too tricky to play here. It's not a beginner's song, but if you know your basic bar chord shapes, you should be able to have a go at playing this one. It's a really beautiful song just to be able to pick up an acoustic guitar and strum through it, maybe sing along as well. And I also want to talk about the Dave Davis lead guitar parts. And Dave Davis is such a great guitar player. He's always a little bit underrated, underappreciated, I think. But I have spoken about him a little bit on this channel before. I know I've mentioned the You Really Got Me solo, which is a favourite of mine. And that's a great example of his early kind of rock and roll style. It's very raw and primitive. It's almost got a kind of proto-punk vibe to it. And then he's also capable of playing these really beautiful parts, such as the parts you hear on this song, which are just kind of perfectly formed melodic parts which really support the song. So I'm going to be getting into all of that stuff. But as I said, let's get going by looking at the basics and the acoustic guitar part first. We're in the key of E major, and the main chord pattern is just based on the 1, 4, 5 chords in that key. And I made a video towards the start of this year, I think, about the importance of really knowing your 1, 4, 5 chords, particularly in the most common guitar keys. And this song is a great example of how it all revolves around those 3 chords. So if you're in the key of E major, then E fairly obviously is going to be the 1 chord. Then we've got the 4 chord, which is going to be an A major, and then the 5 chord is B major, or perhaps B7. You've always got the option of making the 5 chord a dominant 7th chord. So those are the 3 main chords for the verse section of this song. In fact, we're starting on the 5 chord, so we're starting on the B, and then you've got this sort of descending bass line happening underneath the chord. But I think the guitars are just strumming that B chord. And looking at live footage of Ray Davies playing this, I think he's starting out with a B chord up around the 7th fret. So this is a 6th string root B chord. I'm sure most of you already know this one. In fact, Ray Davies tends to play his bar chords like this, with his thumb wrapped over the top like that. So you can kind of get the same sound like that. It's kind of up to you how you do it. I know most people prefer to do it with the first finger kind of flat across the neck. That's a personal preference. It kind of amounts to the same thing. But we're starting on this 5 chord and just playing it in nice relaxed 8th note rhythm. So I'm just strumming up and down 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So just make sure your strumming is nice and loose in your strumming hand. I mean, you could possibly play that with all downstrokes as well. Just gives a slightly different feeling, but either of those things will work. And that's the introduction to the song. As I say, underneath that you've got the bass doing going down the E major scale. So if you're playing it with a bass player, that's obviously going to sound great. I was just thinking there's probably a way that you could get that descending melody happening on the guitar as well. So perhaps you could do it something like this if you wanted to. So it's a slightly more advanced thing. This is totally optional, but you could play kind of a B triad and then drop the bass note, and then maybe come down to this little shape here, 6, 4 and 4, and then to this B triad, and then just continue moving that bass line down. So that would work if you're just playing the song on your own and you just want to get the essence of that descending bass line and the chords at the same time. Right, the main verse chords to the tune then, that goes like this. So we've got an E for 1 bar, and then for the 5 chord I'm playing a B7, so it's fret 2, 1, 2, open, and then 2 on top, just a bar of that, and then we've got 2 bars on an A chord, the 4 chord, and I'm just playing this again with a loose 8th note kind of strum. If you want a fixed strumming pattern for this tune, I would just suggest 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and down, down, up, down, up, down, up. But the key thing is just to keep that strumming hand moving up and down like a kind of pendulum throughout the tune, and then you can kind of vary the strum a little bit, and you can choose when you hit the strings and how much emphasis you give some of those strums. So you might like on the A chord just to lift up the note that you're playing on the 2nd string. So you've got that A sus2. That's something that I've heard Ray Davies do when he plays the tune live. That's a nice little variation that you can throw in. Next we've got, is it a little bridge section, or maybe it's just a continuation of the verse, but it goes like this. So we're starting out on an F sharp minor chord. This is the 2 chord in the key, so I'm just playing this as a 6th string root bar chord, so frets 2, 4, 4, 2, 2 and 2, and then we've got this lovely descending melody happening within the chords. So we're going from this minor chord and we're just dropping the note on the 4th string 1 fret at a time. So you can do that by just lifting up your pinky and then putting down the 2nd finger at the 3rd fret on the 4th string, and then we're lifting up the 2nd finger so that you can hear the 2nd fret on the 4th string. So you can hear that lovely, very classic kind of songwriting device. You hear that in the work of a lot of great songwriters. The Beatles use that idea in multiple tunes. It's really kind of effective. And then after that we're going to a B chord, and Ray Davies seems to be just playing the B chord with a 5th string root bar chord like this. He tends to play it like this, I think, with fingers 2, 3, and 4, perhaps with his thumb over the top, getting the root of that chord, which I find impossible to do. So I'm just playing it as a more conventionally as a bar chord like that. So if I put all of that together, we've got and then that leads us back to the main chord progression. Another option you've got there, instead of playing the B like that, you can in fact go to the B7 there, and that sounds really nice as well. I'm not certain whether Ray Davies does that, but personally I think I prefer it, because then you've got this that melody note going all the way down, following the chord change to the B7, and then that pulls us nicely back to the 1 chord. Next we have got a bridge section, and that's the part that goes like this. So we're heading to, it's once again the 2 chord, but this time the 2 chord is major, so it's an F sharp major, and usually the 2 chord in a major key is minor, but you can kind of flip the quality of this chord. I suppose it's, in a sense, it's a secondary, almost a secondary dominant here. It's kind of the 5 of the 5 chord, if you want to analyse it in theoretical terms, but I don't want to get kind of bogged down with too much theory in this particular video. We're just playing an F sharp major chord, but we're leading into it with these little pushes. We've got this kind of idea, and I've played this song for years, and the way I always did it was like this. So I've got an A chord, and then I'm just changing the bass note, so adding in this 4th fret note on the 6th string, and that's taking us to the F sharp bar chord. But for this video, kind of scrutinising Ray Davies, he seems to play those kind of pushed chords like this, which is kind of interesting. I've never picked up on this before. You can't really hear it on the original recording, but what he's doing is playing an A chord like this, so this kind of bar chord. Then he seems to be going to a C sharp minor chord, or a C sharp minor with a G sharp in the bass. So you can kind of think about it from this shape. He's really just moving that shape around. So I've got kind of 7, 7, 6 and 5. Bring the thumb around the top if you want, and then I'm moving to this minor shape here. So starting from the 4th string, it's 6, 6, 5 and 4. So C sharp minor, maybe with the thumb getting that bass note. So, and then that takes us to the F sharp major chord. So that's an option that you've got if you want to be kind of nerdily authentic to the way Ray Davies plays it live. You can kind of go get those chords in there. As I say, you've got multiple options. You could just go just play single bass notes. You could play it. So any of those options are going to work, and they're going to sound good. Anyway, this bridge section continues. We've got going to B, it's playing the 5th string root bar chord again, then to E. There's 2 beats on that, and then those pushes again. And I should probably just talk about the timing on those pushes, because that's important. We've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we're playing the A chord on the 3, 1, 2, 3 and. This chord we're playing on the and of 3, and then we're heading to the F sharp on the and of 4. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So important to get the rhythm absolutely right there. So we go round a second time. Chilly, chilly is the evening time. The second time we're going to the B chord. It's kind of a re-intro, and you've got got that descending bass line happening again. So just playing that the same as the intro. And then we're into the second verse. And I think that's about it for the main rhythm guitar, the acoustic parts in this tune. You've got the intro, you've got the verse, kind of extended verse with a little descending bit in the middle. Then we've got the bridge section, and the whole song is just made up of those different parts. And if you listen to the original recording, you should be able to piece things together in the correct order. I do love the lead guitar playing on this tune. It's tasteful, it's understated, melodic, and it just supports the song perfectly. And you play like this and it's going to make people want to play with you. Songwriters will want to play with lead guitar players who are going to make their songs sound as good as they possibly can. And unlike if you're some kind of widdly lead guitar egotist, nobody really wants to play with those guys. Occasionally there is a place for a more technical kind of show off kind of playing, but most of the time you kind of want to keep that stuff in the practice room, I think. And we're kicking off with this part. This is the intro. Remember, Ray Davies is just playing that B major chord. We've got that descending bass line. Dave Davies is just playing a single note, just this B note, 7th fret on the 6th string, in this kind of rhythm. So it's a galloping rhythm. It's like that Iron Maiden gallop. It's an 8th note followed by 2 16th notes. So 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and maybe a little bit of palm muting at this point as well. And it's not easy to do that. You need to have a certain amount of picking technique if you're going to be able to play that up to speed cleanly. Important to pick it correctly too. So it's down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. That's the best way to pick this. And important to just stay relaxed. When you're picking single notes like this, you don't want too much movement in your picking hand. You still want to be relaxed, but I'm not moving the pick by very much. I also find that it helps to just use the very tip of the pick, and it just helps it slide over the strings a bit more easily. Then we're into this beautiful melody. Such a great melody, and all he's doing here is playing the main vocal melody to the tune. And there are various ways you could play this on the guitar, different locations on the fretboard. I'm playing it to begin with up here in the 9th position. All of these notes are taken from the E major pentatonic scale, so you might have to think about that scale as a reference point. You've got this shape available to you up here, and those notes are coming out of that scale. That's our first little phrase. So starting on the D string, 11, 9, over to 9 on the G string, and then back to the D string again. And it kind of comes to life if you add in some slides, some hammer-ons, a bit of phrasing and articulation. So I'm sliding into that first note, maybe sliding again there. And then we're just taking that basic melody and transposing it, so playing it elsewhere further down the scale. So we can play it here. That's really the same melody, but we're just moving it across to the next pair of strings. And maybe hammering into that first note. And then we've got next little phrase. I'm actually coming down the neck to play this, so kind of listening closely and scrutinizing live footage. I think got a feeling it kind of comes down here to play the next phrase. So you can play it like that. We've got our B note down here on the 5th string, and then jumping up to play the 6th fret on the 4th string, and then back down. So you could play the same notes here. That's kind of up to you, but that's the way I've chosen to play it. So let me put all of that together. And you'll notice how great the phrasing is as well. We've got our initial phrase, and then we've got an answering phrase, and then we've got another kind of answering phrase. It's almost like 2 calls and then a response. You're kind of developing that initial melodic idea. very simple, but the perfect part for the song. Then we're into the verse, and the lead guitar is playing around the vocal phrases. This is another important lesson as a lead guitar player. You need to leave space for the vocals, which is exactly what Dave Davis does. So we got the first phrase, you know, dirty old river, must you keep rolling into the night. Got these answering phrases to the vocal, and it's more pentatonic stuff. We've got this. So I'm starting at the 7th fret on the D string, sliding up over to the 3rd string, and then coming down again. Just major pentatonic stuff. And then you can do the same thing over on the next pair of strings. That's fitting the chord progression. So we've got so both of those phrases I think played over the A major chord. So this is kind of A major pentatonic to begin with, and then you could see this as being E major pentatonic to take you back home to the 1 chord. And then the verse continues with these ideas. So I think these licks are played whilst he's singing, so these are much more understated. Yeah, maybe a bit of palm muting. You don't want these phrases to pop out too much. So this is just an E triad, or an E arpeggio rather. So root note, 3rd and the 5th. And then we're going down to this D sharp, and then playing in this little box shape here at the 4th and 6th frets. And you can hear how that outlines the chord progression really nicely. So over E, and then we're hitting this note here, which is the chord tone. It's the 3rd of the B7, and then this is also the 3rd of an A chord. So there's a reason why these notes are working. They're melodic because they're fitting the chord progression. You're hitting those chord tones. And then we play that major pentatonic phrase once again. And then we're heading into this section with the F sharp minor. I can't really detect much lead guitar at this point. You know, perhaps Dave Davis is just playing the root notes of these chords quite gently, so that certainly works well. So you could just play F sharp and then go down. So it's playing that little internal melody that we spoke about. So he's playing that down an octave. And then we're back to the main chord progression, and I think we've got some more of this. It's the same phrases that we've had before. I'm playing that bridge section like this. So just based around bar chords here. So we've got that F sharp major bar chord. I'm heading into that with those pushes. So just playing an A, just changing the bass note, then hitting that F sharp chord. And it gets a bit more kind of rocky and aggressive at this point here. So you can play a little bit harder, and I'm sort of going between the bass notes in the chord and then some accents on the higher string. So 1, 2, 3, and then the same thing on a B major chord up at the 7th fret, and then E, and it repeats. And then we're back to the galloping rhythm. There's kind of a re-intro. And that's really that for the lead guitar parts. I think they're just repeated in the rest of the song. There might be some minor differences in articulation, but it's those same riffs. Let me give you a quick rundown of the gear that I'm using today. The acoustic is a Martin D28, which I've had for many years. Now, I bought it from you. I remember at the time it was a lot of money, probably the most I've ever spent on a guitar, but I'm so glad I did it. It's improving with age, I think. It's you buy one of these things and it really is a guitar for life. It's my favourite acoustic guitar. So many of my favourite players use D28s. And it's really the acoustic part which is driving this song. If you listen to the recording, it is quite bright and brash and compressed sound. It sort of it competes with the hi-hat in the mix. It's got that very kind of swishy cutting sound. So on the recording today, I'm recording with a Neumann KM184 mic. I'm also compressing this guitar reasonably heavily on the way into my recording interface. I'll probably add some extra top end on the mix as well, just to try and come close to what I'm hearing on the recording. But it sounds like this. We've got Then for the lead guitar parts, I'm using my Les Paul. It's a 59 reissue Les Paul going into my Fender Princeton. A couple of pedals down here as well. I'm once again using the small speaker Overdrive, which is a fantastic pedal. And I wanted an overdrive that was quite responsive. With that main melody, it sounds quite clean on the original recording, but then during the bridge section, you can hear a bit of grit and dirt. So I wanted a pedal that would respond to how hard I'm playing, and this pedal really kind of fits the bill. And then one more effect, which is a delay. I think this is quite important for the Waterloo Sunset lead guitar sound. You can hear quite clearly a slap back kind of tape delay on the original recording. So to get that sound, I'm using my Belle Époque Deluxe delay pedal, which is a kind of emulation of the classic Echoplex tape delay. So I've got that set to quite a quick delay time with a single repeat, just for that classic slapback sound. Let's hear what that sounds like then. So beginning with all of the pedals bypassed, this is just the Les Paul going straight into the Princeton. And switching on the overdrive pedal. And you can hear how responsive that is. If I pick softly, it just sounds like a clean guitar sound. But if I dig in, that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I am, of course, going to be tabbing out all of the guitar parts that I've discussed today, and you can find those tabs over on the Patreon page along with my backing track. And if you're in the mood for more Kinks, I've looked at 2 or 3 other tunes on this channel. I've looked at Sunny Afternoon, I believe, and also Father Christmas, which is one of the all-time great Christmas songs. So if you're in the mood for a bit of Christmas in May, then go for it. You can find that elsewhere on my channel. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time.